الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. أما بعد, Allah SWT tells us in Surah Al-Zumar, chapter 39 and verse 22, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفمن شرح الله صدره للإسلام فهو على نور من ربه فويل للقاسية قلوبهم من ذكر الله أولئك في ضلال مبين. Can those whose hearts Allah has opened to Islam so they are enlightened by their Lord? So woe to those whose hearts are hardened at the remembrance of Allah. It is they who are clearly astray. Now this is a very precise and very interesting verse, because Afaman, Allah is making a comparison, but He only mentioned one. He did not mention the other side of the comparison. So who is being compared to the ones who Allah has opened their hearts to His remembrance? Who are the other party? And Allah is saying, can the misguided be like those whose hearts that Allah has opened to Islam? The two cannot be the same. They're not the same. There's a big difference between somebody who Allah has made him open his eyes and accept Islam and somebody who shies away and doesn't care about it. There's a big difference between the two. These are the people who reject the remembrance of Allah. But if a person chooses to follow misguidance, if they choose to follow worldly gains over the hereafter, or follow desires with no restrictions, they don't want any restrictions on their behavior, of course they're not going to follow Allah's remembrance and Allah's law. As a result, their hearts will grow hardened. Because the heart is alive. It's either alive with the remembrance of Allah or it's dead. And when it's dead, there is no telling what evil it can do. So, and the heart is not the physical organ that pumps the blood through the body. The heart is the center of the soul. That's where decisions are made. That's the part that Allah will judge on the day of judgment, the nafs. It's not the physical organ. So the verse gives us a very good indicator. If the result of connecting with Allah, of opening your heart to Islam and accepting its rulings and living by it, Allah will give you a very soft heart. A heart that's open, that's full of goodness and merciful. And the ones who shy away from Allah, the sign is they are cruel to others. They have no mercy in their hearts. They don't care what they do to others. That's an indicator. If you find yourself finding, mercy and love for Allah's creation, that's a great sign. That means you have opened your heart, and Allah has opened your heart for Islam and to be good. But if you're somebody if people are afraid of you, know with all certainty that you are disconnected from Allah. You got ways to go. So that verse is telling us that that is the comparison. That's the indicator that you can judge your actions by. So if you see somebody, who is a good believer, that good believer cannot bear to hurt any of Allah's creation without a reason. You'll be walking, you'll see an ant, and you'll kind of change your way. If you see an animal crossing the street, you're going to hit your brakes, even if somebody's going to hit you from the back. That's just because, Allah has made your heart merciful. You don't want to hurt any other, of Allah's creation, whether it's other people or other beings or other animals or whatever it is. So the merciful heart and the live conscience, they're a sign that Allah has opened your heart to His commands, and you are connected with Allah Ta'ala. But if you see somebody who is cruel and hurtful, who takes what he has no right to through trickery or through force, or if they build their happiness on the misery of others, or build their wealth by making others poor, or living at the expense of other people, then know that this person definitely is not connected with Allah. And if you're away from Allah, you're away from all of the qualities that Allah imparts on His servants, of mercy, of goodness, all of the great attributes. You're far away from it. Now, such people who are disconnected from Allah, who have a hard heart, their heart is hardened to the truth. When you remind them of Allah's verses, they get angry. Why are you talking to me about Sharia and I don't want to accept Sharia. The law says that man's law says this and this. Or they don't like the houses of Allah. They just like, I don't want to go to the masjid. And sometimes you see people going in for a janazah, for a funeral, and people are outside, standing while people are praying and they're smoking. They can't bear to go inside Allah's mosque. Or, they even brag about their sin and they're proud of it. Those people are so disconnected from Allah, the heart dies. And when it dies, it becomes cruel. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْقَاسِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُم مِّن ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Allah is warning such people. Woe to those whose hearts are hardened at the remembrance of Allah. Wail means definite destruction. That destruction awaits such people. They may be okay now, but there is a destruction waiting for them down the road. So it is a threat from Allah, because Allah's remembrance puts them face to face with their sin. They don't like, when somebody tells them, the Quran says you cannot deal with usury, but they're making a lot of money with usury. Or you cannot sell alcohol, and they're making tons of money selling alcohol. They don't want to hear those. They do not want to hear Allah's remembrance concerning things that they want to do, and they want to ignore what the Quran and what Islam says. Those such people, the heart just dies after a while. أُولَٰئِكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. It is they who are clearly astray. These types of people want the company of sinners like them because they want to be validated. They don't want to be in the company of believers, because a believer who is steadfast puts them face to face with their conscience that they're doing something wrong. They're doing something they're not supposed to do. So they shy away from the believers and they keep the company of fellow sinners. So, in conclusion, Islam is Allah's prescribed way of life. It's not just, salah and siyam and hajj and zakat. It's more than that. Those are acts of worship. Islam covers everything that you do at a personal level, at the community level, at a country level, at the global level. It controls the whole life, how you act, how you speak, how it controls all that. So we have a choice to make concerning Islam. We either, the ones who refuse to accept it, they don't care about, the commands of Allah. They want to live however they want. They become disconnected from Allah. When you become disconnected from Allah, the heart grows harder and it gets merciless, and rahmah gets taken away, and you become an evil person. And that evil person Allah is threatening with destruction. So that's the option one. And option two is you accept Islam, you accept the guidance, you accept the truth from Allah, and you persist on following it, so Allah will open your heart to it. شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Sharh al-Sadr is something great. When Allah opens your heart to His commands, to His love, to His Prophet, to fellow believers, you'll find happiness and peace in the masjid and with fellow believers more than you do in your own home. You want to learn more about what gets you closer to Allah. That's what when the heart is open to Islam, and Allah, does that to you. You find happiness in helping others and spending more than receiving. Right? When you spend to help others, it makes you more happy than when you get your paycheck. That's what a heart that's connected with Allah, that Allah, takes care of it. You find happiness in these acts, in the acts of obedience to Allah. You find happiness and calm in Allah's obedience. You find contentment in being honest, in being truthful, in being hardworking, in being steadfast, and all the good qualities in Sunnah and in Quran. So if you choose the path of Islam, Allah Ta'ala will open your heart to it. The mind will know it is the truth. Fitra, your innate nature, submits to it because it knows it's the truth. The fitra does not submit except for the truth. It submits to it and it's satisfied by it. And the heart will be content with it and the soul will be at peace with it. That's the effect when Allah sharaha sadra, somebody. When you have sharh al-sadr, when your heart is open to Islam, that's what you gain. You gain happiness, you gain satisfaction, you gain facilitation in this life. So Allah Ta'ala will give you a divine light that you can use in this life so you can avoid problems and live with happiness and safety. And that is the best state for man. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه إنه الغفور الرحيم.